Okay, so let's go ahead and put together our little sunny tote. And I think it's best that we put this panel on while these pieces are still flat. I think it's just going to be a lot easier to work with. And we can go ahead and ink this piece a little bit just to kind of jazz it up a tad. And I'm just taking my VersaMagic inks. These have been kind of my favorite inks to work with, maybe because of the shape, but also just because of how evenly everything applies. And right now I'm just kind of working the edge, and then I'm going to bring it in even more so that we get a little bit of a gradient effect going on the actual paper here. So right now we're just kind of darkening the extreme edge, and then I'll go ahead and just lightly graze the surface of the paper as I'm hitting the actual edge there, just to kind of leave a little bit of ink on the surface as well. And it's just going to give it a little bit of a little more interest. Okay, so once we have this inked, we can go ahead and get it glued into place. It's pretty straightforward, but there's quite a bit of detail on this little piece here. So we do need to work semi-quickly to make sure that we get the coverage on it nicely and it doesn't begin to set before we actually glue it. Okay, so we'll do a little more inking here, and then we can go ahead with the assembly. And then we're going to jazz this thing up with some nice little rhinestones as well, just to make it a little more special. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this glued down. And as I mentioned, there are a lot of details here, so we got to kind of work quick to get our glue down, and just make sure that you get glue in as many little nooks and crannies as you possibly can, so that this piece stays down nicely. Okay. And maybe just try to get a few little dots here and there. Okay. And let's go ahead and put this down. Make sure that you get it nice and centered. Nice even border all the way around, and push down. Okay, you're going to do the same thing with this piece here. Okay, so you want to get that glued down there. And then we can go ahead and put this thing together. Give that a few seconds to dry before you move on. And what we want to do is you want to fold everything at the score marks here. Get all your tabs ready. Okay, yours is going to have the other panel on there, a little decorative panel with the sun on it. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to line this up right like this. So these two pieces are going to be next to each other. I'm going to go ahead and get my glue on this tab here and work some of this glue out to the edge so it's nice and clean, the seam, and just line these pieces up like so. Make sure you've got it nice and lined up, and then just push the oops. That doesn't look very good. There we go. All right, and what you can do is before it sets, flip it over on itself, and you can kind of use the bottom of the tabs here to make sure that you've got it perfectly aligned. And then you can add a little pressure here just to get that glued down. Okay, and while it's still flat here, we can get this tab over. And do the same thing there. Okay. And you can literally just glue it like that. I try to do as much as I can on a flat surface because it helps with alignment, it helps with, well, mostly alignment. It's just a lot easier to work with things when they're flat. Okay, obviously now that we need to put the bottom on, can't use the table anymore, but that looks really cute. And it's really quick, but we've got a lot of detail on there, so it makes it extra special. And now you have two of these. Okay, one has a tiny little L cut into it. That is your liner. That's going to go inside of the box to make it a little more sturdy. Okay, I'm going to first do this front tab here. Okay, and that's because I know for a fact that I can do a really good job on this tab here, and it's going to be facing, as I would say, your recipient. So we want to try to make that one as perfect as possible. Okay, so just go ahead and get that nice and aligned, like so. There we go. And while it's partially set, put it down on your table and push down on the tab here to really get it to hold. Okay, so that looks really nice. And then we can go ahead and put glue on the remaining tabs. Okay, like so. And get this closed. And I'm just pushing that glue out to the edge. Okay, and then you can go ahead and fold the bottom over onto those tabs and push down. Give it like a few seconds to set initially, and then you can flip it down on your table. And if you have a nice dowel or something, you can stick it in there to kind of push down on those tabs. Okay, to really get them in place. Okay. All right, so there is our cute little tote. And I'm just going to decorate this with some rhinestones. And again, here's the little liner piece. So what you want to do is just put a little bit of glue inside here and just throw that in there. It doesn't have to be perfect as far as the glue placement. You just pop that right in, push down, and there you go. Okay, and that is it.
Stay on top of all things Dreaming Tree and engage with us today. Get the latest news and enter in our giveaways on Facebook. Get inspired by following us on Pinterest. Be the first to see our new product launches on Instagram. Do you prefer Twitter? Yep, we're there too. Watch our beautiful product trailers and assembly tutorials on YouTube. For more information, visit www.3dsvg.com. Live, craft, love, and dream.